The political establishment is in complete chaos tonight as a decision that has sent shockwaves through Westminster exposes the deep fractures in British society. What started as a simple football match has erupted into a full-blown crisis that has left Prime Minister Keir Starmer scrambling for damage control and facing accusations of failing to protect Jewish citizens on British soil. The controversy centers around Maccabi Tel Aviv, the Israeli football club that was set to face Aston Villa in Birmingham on November 6th in a Europa League fixture. But in an unprecedented move that has never been seen in English football history, Birmingham's safety advisory group, backed by West Midlands Police, announced that Israeli fans would be completely banned from attending the match. This isn't just about football anymore, this is about the very fabric of British society and whether Jewish people are truly welcome in modern Britain. The decision has triggered an absolute firestorm of criticism from across the political spectrum. Prime Minister Keir Starmer, clearly rattled by the implications, took to social media to condemn what he called the wrong decision. His statement was unambiguous, declaring that we will not tolerate anti-Semitism on our streets and that the role of the police is to ensure all football fans can enjoy the game without fear of violence or intimidation. But critics are asking whether Starmer's words carry any weight when local authorities can simply override the government's position with impunity. The opposition leader didn't mince words in Parliament today.
He has not answered any questions. On Monday, Mr. Speaker, on Monday, the Security Minister repeatedly told the House that ministers did not take decisions, that it was the Deputy National Security Advisor who had full freedom. Is the government seriously saying that only one man, the Deputy National Security Advisor, had anything to do with this failure? Is he seriously saying that the Deputy did not discuss with the National Security Advisor, did not discuss with the Home Secretary or with anyone in Downing Street? Is the Prime Minister seriously saying that?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, let me explain why. Firstly, the case was charged under the last government according to the evidence submitted under the last government, which set out their policy decision. What was an issue in the trial is not the position of the current government, the position of the last government. And they carefully avoided describing China as an enemy because that was their policy at the time.
Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch branded the decision a national disgrace and demanded immediate action from the Prime Minister. Her scathing critique cut to the heart of the matter, pointing out how Starmer had pledged that Jews are welcome and safe in Britain, that he stands shoulder to shoulder with the Jewish community and will use the full force of his government to prove it. The implication is clear. Starmer's promises are proving to be empty rhetoric when tested by real-world events. This pattern of failing to deliver on security assurances has become increasingly evident. What prosecutors needed was a simple confirmation from the government that China posed a threat to national security in a recent espionage case.
All they had to say was that it was perceived that China posed a threat. It's a very simple, low bar to set. The evidence right at the beginning, he's trying to say that the Conservatives didn't have this and therefore it was down to them that it failed. Not at all. Because the case went ahead when the Conservatives were in power because the MI5, all the institutions said categorically they pose a threat. In fact, MI5 said they pose the greatest threat to the freedom of the United Kingdom. All they had to do was confirm that and say that they continue to believe China posed a threat. So, you know, the old twisted can't lie straight in bed man himself.
Yet even this basic acknowledgement was withheld, leading to the collapse of a major trial. The Birmingham ban has drawn condemnation from international figures as well. Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar called the ban shameful and urged British officials to reverse what he termed a coward decision. Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey called it a serious mistake, arguing that you don't tackle anti-Semitism by banning its victims. Even UEFA, the governing body of European football, has urged British authorities to ensure Maccabi Tel Aviv fans can attend the match. The justification for this ban centers around what West Midlands Police describe as high-risk classification based on current intelligence and previous incidents. They specifically cite the violent clashes that occurred when Maccabi Tel Aviv played Ajax in Amsterdam last November, where over 60 people were arrested and 5 men received prison sentences. The Amsterdam incident saw pro-Palestinian demonstrators clash with Israeli fans, resulting in what Dutch authorities described as anti-Semitic attacks, where rioters active sought out Israeli supporters to assault them. But here's where the story gets even more concerning for the Starmer government. The decision reveals a fundamental breakdown in the chain of command and raises serious questions about who actually controls security policy in Britain. West Midlands Police, despite facing intense pressure from the Prime Minister and other senior government figures, has remained defiant. A spokesperson for the force stated they are committed to delivering fair and impartial policing and will not be responding to the Prime Minister's criticism. This is essentially a direct challenge to government authority, and it's not the first time Starmer's handling of security threats has come under intense scrutiny.
I asked him, could he please explain why in Southport he immediately launched an inquiry, but he wouldn't my father. He kept skirting around the issue, and when I kept saying, no, just answer why we can't do an inquiry now, but we can in Southport, and I kept pushing him, and in the end he got really annoyed and said, it's a different case, it's a different scenario, I'm not getting into it. But that isn't good enough to say you're not getting into it with the daughter of the person that was murdered.
The Prime Minister's response to various national security matters has left many questioning his judgment and resolve. The local politics add another layer of complexity to this crisis. Ayub Khan, the independent MP for Birmingham Perry Barr, who had campaigned for the match to be cancelled, welcomed the decision with open arms. Khan argued that there were latent safety risks that even our capable security and police authorities would not be able to fully manage. His constituency has one of the largest Muslim populations in Britain, and the political calculations here are impossible to ignore. What makes this situation particularly explosive is that it represents the first time in English football history that away fans have been banned from a match for reasons unrelated to traditional hooliganism between rival clubs. This sets a dangerous precedent that could fundamentally change how football matches involving controversial teams are handled in the future. The Jewish Leadership Council didn't hold back in their criticism, calling it perverse that away fans should be banned from a football match because West Midlands Police can't guarantee their safety. The timing of this crisis couldn't be worse for Starmer's government. Britain is already dealing with heightened tensions around antisemitism following recent attacks on Jewish institutions. The Prime Minister has repeatedly promised to stand with the Jewish community, but this Birmingham ban suggests that local authorities feel emboldened to ignore central government directives when it comes to protecting Jewish citizens. Meanwhile, Britain's international standing has taken yet another blow this week.
But ultimately, the Prime Minister is responsible for decisions of the government he leads.
Talking about swanning around the world, so Keir Starmer wasn't obviously in the UK yesterday, he was in Egypt. We can question what on earth he was doing there. Did you see the moment with Trump?
I did, yes.
United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's our friend? Where? Come here. Is everything going good?
Very good.
It's very nice that you're here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice, and I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others.
Well, the whole thing is extraordinary. So there is Trump. He says, where's the United Kingdom? He looks around. Sir Keir Starmer, as if he is a schoolgirl in pigtails, puts his hand up and says, here, sir, practically.
Oh, my goodness.
Waddles forward and then shakes hands with Trump, who says, how are you, and things like that. And then Trump just turns his back on him as Starmer waddles back to his position. And this point about he came at 20 minutes' notice. He is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
Yes.
He is not Donald Trump's poodle.
No, although is he increasingly looking like that. Did he want to speak? Do you think he went up to the lectern because he thought he was going to have an opportunity to say something? Why would he think that?
I don't know, but it's this putting his hand up. I mean, it's so undignified. He's meant to project power. He's meant to project the nation abroad. He's meant to project the authority of His Britannic Majesty's Prime Minister.
Yes.
And instead, he looks as if he's waiting for the prep school photograph to be taken and is obeying the instructions from the photographer. It's
Maybe
all
you
ridiculous.
can't outpower the most powerful man on the world stage. I mean, there was that strange exchange between Trump and Emmanuel Macron where they're in some kind of arm wrestling competition. Handshakes here, bro shakes. Very odd. He wouldn't let go of him. Trump does use his physicality on other leaders, doesn't he?
Oh, yes, he does. And Trump is a tall man and built on a certain size.
Yes,
and,
glowing orange.
Macron is a munchkin. And therefore, in comparison, Trump overwhelms him. Also, the President of France stands on his dignity.
I thought you were going to say stands on Cuban heels.
May well do that
too,
as well.
yes.
Stands on his dignity as a head of state, which is very difficult to do when you're elected in that way.
Yes.
That you represent raw power as a head of government.
The government's inability to project strength and coherence on the world stage has become increasingly apparent. Behind the scenes, government sources reveal that senior officials held emergency meetings on Friday to explore what additional resources and support are required so all fans can attend. But the fact that the government is scrambling to find resources after the fact raises serious questions about their preparedness and authority. A government spokesperson was forced to issue a statement saying they are working with policing and other partners to do everything in our power to ensure this game can safely go ahead with all fans present. The international implications of this decision cannot be understated. Football Supporters Europe, UEFA's recognized advisory group, warned that such bans create additional risk by not offering a controlled and secured environment inside the stadium. They pointed out that evidence shows blanket bans don't solve security problems. They often make them worse by pushing tensions into uncontrolled environments. What's particularly telling is the reaction from Birmingham's own Police and Crime Commissioner Simon Foster, who called for an immediate review of the decision. This suggests that even within the local authority structure, there are serious concerns about the precedent being set. Local Mayor Richard Parker has urged authorities to find a workable solution that might involve the government covering additional policing costs, essentially admitting that this is a resource problem that could be solved with proper funding. The broader context makes this crisis even more significant. Various sporting events have seen protests over the war in Gaza, including when Israel's national team played Norway and Italy in recent World Cup qualifiers. The Palestine Solidarity Campaign has been calling for Israeli teams to be banned from international tournaments entirely, arguing that Israeli football teams shouldn't play in international tournaments whilst it commits genocide and apartheid. This Birmingham decision, whether intended or not, plays directly into that narrative. For Maccabi Tel Aviv supporters, this ban represents something much deeper than just missing a football match. Emily Damari, a British-Israeli dual national who was held captive by Hamas before being released in January, condemned the decision in stark terms. She argued that football is a way of bringing people together irrespective of their faith, color, or religion, and this disgusting decision does the exact opposite. Her personal experience gives weight to concerns that this ban sends a message that Jewish people are not fully welcome in British society. The precedent this sets is genuinely frightening. If local police forces can override government policy and ban specific groups from attending public events based on their ethnicity or nationality, where does it end? Baroness Luciana Berger, who quit the Labour Party in 2019 over anti-Semitism concerns before rejoining in 2023, raised this exact point. She warned that if West Midlands Police and Birmingham Council can't guarantee safety for this one match, then the city's ability to host forthcoming major international events should be reviewed. Maccabi Tel Aviv's chief executive Jack Angelides didn't hold back in his criticism, expressing dismay about what this potentially is signaling. He warned that this decision represents a form of anti-Semitism that manifests as part of a process, suggesting that this ban is just one step in a broader pattern of exclusion and discrimination. What makes this situation even more concerning is that Birmingham has successfully hosted countless high-risk events in the past. The city has managed everything from international football matches to major concerts without resorting to blanket bans on specific ethnic or national groups. The fact that they're claiming they cannot guarantee safety for this particular match raises serious questions about their competence or their willingness to protect Jewish attendees. The government's response has been telling in its desperation. The fact that senior ministers are holding emergency meetings and exploring additional resources suggests they understand the gravity of the situation. But it also reveals that they were caught completely off guard by local authorities taking such drastic action. This represents a fundamental failure of communication and coordination within the British state. For Keir Starmer personally, this crisis strikes at the heart of his credibility with the Jewish community. He's repeatedly promised to be a steadfast ally, but when tested by real events, local authorities in his own country are ignoring his directives and implementing policies that many see as discriminatory. His angry response suggests he understands the political damage this could cause, but words without action ring hollow. The international community is watching this situation closely. Israel has already issued strong condemnations, and other allies are likely questioning Britain's commitment to protecting Jewish citizens and visitors. This could have diplomatic consequences that extend far beyond a single football match. As this crisis continues to unfold, the fundamental question remains: who actually governs Britain? Is it the elected government in Westminster, or is it local police forces and councils who can ignore central directives when they find them inconvenient? The Birmingham ban has exposed a dangerous precedent that could reshape how minority communities are treated in modern Britain. The coming days will be crucial in determining whether Starmer can actually deliver on his promises to the Jewish community, or whether his government will be remembered as the one that allowed local authorities to implement discriminatory policies with impunity. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the entire world is watching how Britain handles this test of its commitment to equality and protection of minorities. The question now is whether Starmer has the political will and authority to reverse this shameful decision and restore faith in Britain's commitment to protecting all its citizens and visitors, regardless of their background.